Yeah, so it's not going to be Rocker like we originally imagined. It's going to be Ostagy versus Blaze backwards. I'll just call him Blaze because I don't
Blaze is
want to get.
easier.
Yeah, Blaze is easier. So it's going to be Ostagy versus Blaze here on Entombed Valley. And good news for Ostagy, it is going to be full cross spawns as
Right.
Blaze spawns on the top right hand side of the map. Ostagy spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left hand side. And as soon as Ostagy figures out that this is going to be cross spawn, he's going to breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that his opponent isn't directly to the right of him, making his third base too exposed.
Yeah, this map is a little difficult to take a third on just because of the destructible rocks which are there. So the Protoss is able to get pylons by your third and then can have nice timings on that third. But you want to take down those rocks as soon as possible as a Zerg player if you do go for the quick three bases. And it looks like Blaze will be going for the Force Fast Expand. So pretty typical here from a Protoss. I'd be interested to see the next time we see a one basing Protoss, somebody do the one gate expand or the three gate sentry expand in this matchup ever again.
Yeah, just, the metagame constantly changes, and recently the metagame has really shifted into much more macro style of play,
Yeah.
and they don't really do that three gate expand. Yeah, just going ahead and make sure that everyone knows that all spawns are possible here. The probe is just making his rounds, gonna do a quick look around the map. And yeah, as we mentioned before, the game has really gone into... Is it?
Yeah, that might be true actually. We'll have to verify that, but that would make sense because I think we haven't had any true horizontal spawns.
Well, I have seen a true horizontal spawn, but I don't know if that was the IPL version or if that was the MLG version. But anyways, this is a cross spawn here. We'll see what's going to be happening, what's going to go down. And I guess Ostagy didn't have to breathe a sigh of relief if MLG does in fact force vertical and cross spawns only. Blaze will see that there is already a hatchery now already placed down quite some time ago. I believe it was a 14 or at least a 15 hatch. And now we also see Blaze going for a fast Nexus followed by a Forge on the front door. We could be getting up a Photon Cannon as well. And we'll see if our Protoss friend here in Blaze can take a game off of Ostagy and put up vVv 2-1 in this series.
Yeah, so Ostagy goes for a gas here, and again, that's off of two base here. Two base gas, not as typical. Typically, we see that third hatchery go down, a big pump of drones, and then gas, sometimes double gas coming up from Zerg. So, interesting decision. I wonder what he'll use that gas for, if he'll get early speed, if he's going to put on some sort of two base pressure, which is definitely a counter to this fast expanding Protoss style.
Right, a drone now just taking a look around over here. We have seen a lot of Zerg players, or just Zerg players in the past, establish that hatchery and then really use it more of a macro hatch, since it is a production building as well. And sometimes Protoss players are just completely caught off guard. They think, okay, what you're gonna do, you're just going to drone up, so I'm gonna be safe to, use one gate and get a couple sentries and the force fields should be enough. That sometimes isn't the case here, and we'll see what exactly Ostagy tries and respond with. I haven't seen too many drones coming out. Currently only 8 drones over here at the natural expansion. It is 25 drones versus 24 probes.
We do have speed started, and he actually pulled off almost everybody off gas, just one drone in gas. So he is getting up a macro hatch at the natural. That'll be interesting. Maybe he'll go for a very heavy Ling style, getting speed, and I imagine he'd probably try to get Ling upgrades somewhere. But maybe just going for that macro hatch before the third base, being ultra safe, making sure his production is not getting too far behind what he needs to defend in terms of bases. And back in the base of Blaze, we've got second gateway coming up. The cybernetics core already finished, though no warp gate tech out quite yet. He's actually got enough gas for it. There it is. So maybe a little bit late on that, and we'll see whether +1 starts on that forge.
Yeah, I think he was actually short on minerals, so he was just waiting for the 50 minerals. And at this point, I would really like to see Blaze go for that level 1 weapons upgrade. Always very, very nice. And as you mentioned, Zealots being able to two-shot Zerglings, one of those critical upgrades where things shift in favor of Protoss, at least until Zerglings do get armor upgrades. You can see now a Twilight Council also being added, And normally the Twilight Council is only done after the level 1 weapons and armor upgrades, so it's not to unlock level 2. And I'm really curious as to what the strategies will be. It is 36 probes, 37 drones, and no one with really much of an army as of yet.
Alright, so I think Blaze is expecting some sort of all-in. He placed down a second cannon. He's coming out with a ton of sentries, so he's going to be well defended against an all-in. And that's not what's coming from Ostoji. Instead, he is coming up with the double evolution chambers, like I said, going for a very heavy Ling style, already with +1/+1 on the way, and that's well ahead of the forge upgrades from Blaze. And now we see Blaze's true strategy come to light with that Dark Shrine.
All right, Dark Shrine now being established. Zerglings now trying to make their way over here to the third base. The Zealot now making its way over as well. And the Zealot is going to have a very difficult time. There are a lot of sentries here. Where's that Zealot going to go? It is just going to end up getting surrounded. It does get 1 kill, making sure to get in some easy shots. It gets 2 kills. And that's pretty impressive Zealot micro there, as now we may see 1 or 2 pylons even fall here at the third base.
I was just thinking to myself the other day how I wish more players did that Zealot micro, you know. Zerglings, when there's 4 of them against 1 Zealot, you micro perfectly, you're able to kill it, but Protoss players don't micro as much with their Zealots, and it's really good, especially against slowlings. We do have a big drone pump coming in here for Ostoji, so he's preparing to take this third. Hatchery already down, and now he's got 12 drones coming out, and that's going to give him the drone advantage. We'll see how he defends against this DT play, though. Already we do have the Dark Shrine done, and 3-4 DTs on the way, so they're going to be able to get in here very quickly. There is the lair about to finish, so there's no Spore Crawler out for Ostoji. He's going to actually take a lot of damage from these DTs.
All right, so we'll see if Ostoji does spot the little bit of a flicker on the map. He actually has to be watching here. Dark Templars now going into each of the bases, including the third. And I believe, no, it's going to go ahead and try to take down this 4th base here. 2 Dark Templars in the main. The Dark Templars just going after units, also taking down units over here. But the drones in a very good position. And now what are these Dark Templars going to do? They need to take down actual drones. Worker kill count already up to 7. 8 kills, 9. No, in comes the Overseer. And with the drones just completely surrounding the Dark Templars, that was not a very effective use at all.
He had 4 DTs, and he was able to kill actually 17 workers, so that's pretty decent. The big drone pump, which Ostoji had done to prepare for his third, basically negated as another 14 drones having to come out, so that's a lot of minerals that he just had to spend. Obviously, there was an investment in gas by Blaze, but I think he'll definitely take that. That also gave him time to get up his own third, which is building at this point. He's got to take down these rocks, though. Use these sentries to really fight against those early Lings. And also DTs transition quite well into Archons, which do very well against this upgraded Ling style. We do have a Spire on the way, and Archons do well against that as well. We've got Blink possible here from the Protoss already with the Twilight Council. Blink halfway done, so I feel like Blaze is in a decent position here to counter the forces which are going to be coming out from Ostoji.
All right, sentries now warping in over here. Are they just going to be able to protect that 1 pylon? Photon cannon is now up. The photon cannon is getting some kills. Sentry is getting some kills as well. Gateway nope. Gateway is not going to get canceled here. And a brilliant warp in by Blaze to save and establish his third base. It is going to be 3 bases versus 3 now. Harvester count 65 compared to 61. Stalkers will have Blink. Level 1 weapons upgrade now being started, as the rocks look like they will get taken down here in between the natural and the third base.
So I think Ostoji needs to expand at this point. He's on 3 bases. He just did a big drone pump, but he's got a unit composition which doesn't really take on the unit composition of Blaze all that well. Blaze, I guess the one thing not going for him is he's got no upgrades. Level 1, just about halfway done now, so he's going to have to defend against these early mutas with Blink Stalkers without any upgrades. So there's actually not a lot of Stalkers on the field as well, just 10. So in come these Mutalisks trying to take down probes, even up the economy a little bit, and they can just start focusing down individual Stalkers as well, which is exactly what they're doing. So Blaze needs to Blink in here. You gotta remember he's got Blink, there it is, and really thin down this this Mutalisk herd.
All right, here we go. The Mutalisks once again going into the main base. The Stalkers unable to really catch up as the Mutalisks are just dancing around all the bases. Now going to be hitting the third base, which is pretty wide open. The probes could perhaps try to hide by that photon cannon there. Stalkers have finally blinked forward, and now that did deal a little bit of economic damage. 16 workers killed, 78 versus 64 in terms of worker count. A nice even up there as Ostaji did go into his 4th base, and Blaze with a Dark Templar here, opting not to attack it yet until it almost has full life.
Yeah, interesting decision there. He could have forced the cancel early on, and now he can actually take down drones if he wants. Instead, we've got Ostaji moving into position here with an Overseer, and now finally a drone or two will go down. So I think Ostaji at this point needs to make a decision on what his next plan is going to be. He's getting Sentry, or getting Baneling speed, and also he might go for Overlord drops, getting melee attacks too. Again, this unit composition, once the Protoss gets a big death ball, not very good, especially if he has Archons, which Blaze has not added yet. So you've got to either go to Infestor, Broodlord, or you've got to make the transition over to Roach and try to go for a heavy macro Roach style, but upgrades would be a little bit late there. Instead, he's going to try to, I think, go for Ling, Baneling, and maybe add some drops in there as well.
Yeah, I think Ostaji does need a transition. As you mentioned, Baneling drops could be one of those really, really good strategies, especially with the critical upgrades on those Banelings, being able to one-shot a group of probes. But we do see photon cannons coming in from Blaze. Blaze really reacting, as we now see Mutalisk try to fly straight into the natural expansion. A couple more workers were killed there, only say 2 or 3, but the natural expansion is pretty exposed to, say, an Overlord Baneling
Right.
carpet bombing.
And +2 is finished for Ostaji, so he's going to be able to one-shot those probes. He could do a ton of damage just doing like a triple prong drop into all 3 mineral lines, and at the same time attack with his mutas, so that Blaze is really really distracted, and a lot of damage goes off by those Banelings. But still, we don't have Overlord drops being researched at all. Instead, we are going towards Hive Tech, so he's just going to buy some time until he can get up to those Broodlords, and then Broodlords, really good units in this matchup if your opponent does not have just a big, big army that can blink in there and take them all down.
All right, in come the Mutalisk once more, going to try to get some damage onto this Nexus. A little bit of an exchange of damage there as the Glaive Worms with their the Mutalisk with their Glaive Worms just constantly chaining and dealing damage, even though the Mutalisk have a range of 3. If they attack the Nexus and then the Glaive Worm can actually bounce onto the probes, you saw some more worker kills there, up to 23 compared to 19 now, as Ostaji taking a comfortable supply advantage. And we'll see how Blaze is going to try to wrestle that back. There are also a lot of Spine Crawlers here, and Blaze without Colossi may not be able to get around these 8 Spine Crawlers inside the main, or just inside the middle of the map here.
Ostaji gonna snipe down a Nexus here. He is gonna get it, as the army is just out of position already across the field here. So now these mutas are gonna be able to do a ton of damage and still probably retreat to be able to defend here. We've got a lot of fungal growths possible, as Ostaji just did a big infestor pump. Now we've got these Banelings coming in here trying to do their best damage against the Stalkers. Some nice feedbacks there on the infestors, taking down some nice storms as well. They're melting a lot of the links which came in, and there's the GG from Blaze. That was basically his all-in attack. He was down to 90 supply compared to the 171 of Ostaji. Ostaji had tier 3 capabilities as well, and had those mutas just terrorizing the mineral line of Blaze as he pushed out. So Ostaji, I think, didn't really have any trouble with that game at all.
Yeah, Ostaji just cruising through that game. It wasn't as back and forth as game 2, as now vVv is 2 losses away, or excuse me, Gosu is 2 wins away from taking Wednesday night StarCraft, as game 4 does get set up. But, you know, 2 very, very strong vVv players coming in. I believe it is going to be Rocker and So Hyung.
Yep.
We'll see if Rocker lives up to his Protoss versus Zerg. I believe he did lose 1 game in the PvZ matchup. Hopefully he does not make it 2 in a row.
Yeah, he lost that last game after